One, two, three, the long feed.
Welcome back to another Lawn Feed podcast. My name is Ope, your host this evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. Thank you for listening in. And alongside me, as always, is Andrew with the Dad Bod Lawn and Vince with Rooted Lawn Co. What's up, gentlemen? How are we?
Hey.
Very well.
Thank you for tuning in to another awesome episode. Today, it is getting hot outside. I don't know about you guys, but it is steamy, it is humid, and it is hot. So we are going to be talking about summer lawn tips. But first, be sure to go check out our website after this episode for premium lawn tees, shirts, and apparel, and other apparel that will even give you a discount towards the end of the show to sweeten that deal for you and almost guarantee you that you will get out of your summer without any stress going on into your lawn. It's about a 97% guarantee. Read the fine print.
Very fine.
Very, very fine print. But you will look good doing it, and you will feel more confident in your lawn in the process. So, gentlemen, today we are talking about summer lawn tips. But before we get there, we have to talk about some dad W's and L's.
Yeah, so as you guys know, we always do these W's and L's for the dad, which is just a win and a loss for fatherhood or parenthood in general. This portion of the podcast is brought to you by Four Fathers, and they are a polo company elevating the dad apparel for the DIY dad and the OG of that Turf Dad polo, and also the new Turf Stripes polo that Vince is rocking tonight with the zero turn on there. Very
good.
Comfortable, very, very nice polos. If you are interested in those, you can use code THELAWNFEED for 20% off your entire order at shopfourfathers.com. Now, Chris, we're going to throw it back to you tonight for the W's and L's. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I've got a few. Well, I shouldn't say a few, just a couple.
You only get one and two. So.
I know. So we just got done with kindergarten. That was a big, I guess, milestone for anyone who's got like that age kid. We got through the first year of like quote unquote real school. But in the
Free
middle,
school?
Yeah, that counts, right? We're there, right. But from like the W and L is kind of like wrapped into the same thing, and all has to do with like confidence, right? Kids, like as adults, we just know how to handle situations a little bit differently, obviously, than a kid does, right? We've seen more, we have more life experience, we've been through things, and we can also handle new experiences and like get through them okay, even though they like we don't really want to, we don't know what's going to happen, might be awkward, we don't know anybody, but like we can get through it. As like a 6-year-old, that's brand new. And my oldest, he's 6.5 and struggles with like anything that he does the first time. Meltdown. He freezes, just doesn't know what to do. And it's something that we've been working on for probably about the last like 2.5 years, right? It's just this ongoing thing and wants to get through stuff. He truly does want to get through it, doesn't really know how. And he has gotten into soccer, and it's a new like season of soccer in the summertime. So we just kind of kicked off with that. And all of a sudden he's not on like, yeah, no pun intended, but he's not on like a team anymore. It's a development camp. So it's like a tweener camp, if you would, where he doesn't really know anybody. So like routine has changed. So we get to soccer as a sport he loves, like super confident in that. He's super athletic, super good for his age. He should feel confident about it, but it's new people, new coach, new everything. Freaks out, starts just bawling, right? So we got to say, oh man, we didn't get through that. Okay, so we kind of like walk through it. We kind of go through everything for the second week, and okay, what can we work towards? Let's create 2 goals, right? Okay, so I wanna not cry when I get there. So goal number 1, I want to try to steal a ball from someone. And I want to score a goal. So the win here is like we made it an incentive, like it completely spinned it on the positive. It's not like, hey, don't cry. It's if we get through this, let's go out and get ice cream afterwards. And not only did he not cry, he went in there completely confident, just like he did with his old team and old, coach and all of those things. He stole a bunch of balls from people. He scored 2 goals in one game. And then they had 2 consecutive games after that, and he scored in each one.
Nice.
So it's like, that was super fun to watch him just like realize like, hey, I can do something new, and still get through it, even though it's something that I like. So that was really, really cool. And it's been a success pretty much ever since then. The L is also the same thing. He started, like, school just got done up here, and he started his like summer camp or like club care or whatever it is at his school. Same teachers, same friends, same everything. Meltdown day 1 because it's new, right? So we're at like day 3 of that right now, and it's like we're just going through it. So it's not really like a super fat L. It's just like, man, it humbles you as an adult. Like, we get through situations that kids like just don't know how to get through on a daily basis, and then we just like look at those a little bit differently. So it's humbling as a parent. It brings you back to like, what was I like as a 6-year-old? What was I like as a kindergartner? And it's, man,
You probably don't want to know.
I probably don't. My mom's, she'll probably listen to this and say like, oh my gosh, you were just a head case. But yeah, that's that. But I'm sure I'm almost positive there's parents out there that are relating to that, no doubt. But
100%.
Enough of that. We've got obviously a whole different array of topics to talk about. The A-list topic today is summer lawn tips. We'll be going through a couple of different topics that are people bring up to us. Vince, why don't you hit us with some things with mowing? What do people need to know a little bit about mowing in the summer and some considerations that they should think of?
Yeah, so just like we have wins and losses with parenting, mowing can be a win or a loss depending on how you do it. So we've talked about this many times, so we're not going to go through it again. But if you don't know already what the one third rule is,
1/3 roll or rule?
1/3 roll. Am I pronouncing it wrong? Is it rule or roll? So the 1/3 rule. So basically, you don't want to be cutting off more than 1/3 of your grass blade, because you're doing that too much. It's going to increase your thatch layers, cause more issues down the road. So just don't do that. Again, we harp on this all the time, almost every episode. So just don't do that, y'all. And then also during prolonged periods of drought. So I've been in a drought for a month and a half now, actually since last year. I feel like our rain,
to the club.
Yeah, I feel like our rain's just not, we're just not getting enough rain. Didn't get snow. So, we're coming into the spring in a drought, and summer kind of hit us quick. And when you see your lawn getting high, you're like, okay, I need to go mow it. But if you're looking at the weather ahead and it says, it's not going to rain for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it's going to be hot, you don't want to go out there and go mow your lawn. Let it get a little straggly. Let it get a little, maybe not so pretty as you like to usually keep it, but your lawn's going to thank you for that. Cutting lawn when you're in a drought will promote more stress, which will actually can help increase the amount of drought symptoms that your lawn's having and increase the disease susceptibility. So it's really not a good thing to do. So just try and wait it out and not mow during long periods of drought. If you are mowing, so you have some rain and you're able to mow, try and do it in the cooler parts of the day. So we're talking about mornings, we're talking about late evenings. I know morning mows are not necessarily the best time for most people. We're going to work, but if you can do it on a Saturday, like a Saturday morning, we have a Saturday morning mow club. So around 8 a.m., fire up the old gasser or pop the battery in, wake up your neighbors and start mowing. And you can do it in style. If you go to our website, thelawnfeed.com, we have a Saturday morning mow club t-shirt. So, you can just rub it into your neighbor and say, look, I'm part of a mow club. So what are you part of?
I
And then
think the 8 a. I think I was about to say I think the 8 a.m. thing is good, but I think that's too late. I think you got to fire that bad boy up around 5, 6 a.m. and just
just
get
let
the
it warm
whole
up.
neighborhood going.
That's like the
Right?
stereotype dad. We're the millennial dads. We like to sleep in a little. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah,
Wait
we
for that
like our
coffee to brew. You
melatonin.
need some coffee in your system before you get out there, and then you got to run in halfway through because you got to run to the bathroom. But you know,
Speaking of giving yourself a jolt, but let's talk about giving your lawn a jolt.
there you go.
Let's talk fertilizer. Andrew, what are some considerations people should know about with fertilizer in the summer?
Yeah, summertime for cool season lawns, it's really not your growing season. Your lawn isn't actively growing as much as it is in the spring and in the fall because it just doesn't like those hot temperatures. And like you guys have already talked about, we have all experienced some sort of like early stages of drought so far. And I feel like all of our lawns are already in like starving for water. And I have gotten so many questions from friends and family over the last couple of weeks because like temperatures have finally dipped down and they're like, hey, can I fertilize? And I'm just like, well, what does your lawn look like? Because a lot of these lawns just it's crispy. Like
Mm-hmm.
if your lawn is not getting water, if you haven't watered it heavy and kept it green, um, you really want to stay away from a lot of nitrogen. You don't want to be going down heavy with the nitrogen. If your lawn is brown, don't throw down. I think that's something we've said in the
Did you
past.
just make
So
that up?
no, I think we've said that in a prior episode.
I
But
like it.
yeah, I made that up. Let's just go with that. Sounds better.
Yeah, good job, man.
But yeah, thank you. So no heavy doses of nitrogen. If you can find lower nitrogen granulars, this is the time to also throw down like your milorganites, right? Like your natural fertilizers because they need heat to actually break down and do their thing, and they're a lot lower in the nitrogen too, and some of those are slow release as well. So those are good options if you are a natural guy. But there is something called spoon feeding. All you dads out there, or moms, whoever's listening, you're probably familiar with transitioning from like milk and formula to like baby food that you put on a spoon and you stick in your baby's mouth, right? And you're like, it's not just like you're shoveling in as fast as you can. It's just one little tip of a spoon at a time, and that's essentially what spoon feeding is. And these are really great with using liquid products like Simple Lawn Solutions, for example. You can use a hose end sprayer, you can use a backpack sprayer if you're comfortable with that. But hitting it with an application of that every few weeks, the number or the amount of nitrogen you're putting down per application is like so significantly low, even at the recommended rates. I think we've calculated it out before, and it's like below 2 tenths of a pound of
Yeah, it's like
nitrogen, right, per
zero point
thousand.
0.1 to 0.3
Yeah.
max, I
So,
think.
so if you think about it, if you throw down a full bag of like a store bought fertilizer that's like a 29, 04 or something like that, and you put that down at the rate, you're going to put down almost like 8 tenths of a pound. So like it takes you like 8 applications of this stuff to equal one of those. So, but what it's going to do is the liquid, especially, is going to give you a quick green up. It's going to look really nice, and it's also not going to push a lot of top growth when your grass doesn't want to. So, um, bust out the backpack sprayer every few weeks, after the kids go to bed, and spray and pray, as they say.
It is kind of a nice therapeutic, like 20 minutes
That's
is
if they go to bed. Yeah,
if the kids go to bed.
that's a
Great
big if these
point.
days.
If the kids go to bed, just go and fertilize for a little bit. Go do something. Sometimes I just walk around my lawn with an empty backpack sprayer. Just to,
No, I do want to say I think I skipped over this part. Like heavy applications of nitrogen is not only just like not good for dry dormant grass, but like lots of nitrogen can actually increase your risk of fungus early spring and summer too once the humidity kicks in. So just
It's a good
throw
point,
that.
man.
It's another reason why not to go heavy.
It's a good point. And we touched on kind of that environmental, like what the proper environment is for like a fungus to, get going and get legs and that kind of thing. And obviously moisture and water is a big part of that. So watering in the summer, I think, is like something that it's one of the avenues that like you kind of have a fork in the road once you get to like these drought periods. It's like you kind of have to decide in a cool season grass what way you're going to go. You're either going to like let your lawn go dormant because that's the natural thing that the grass wants to do when it gets really, really stressed out. We're quote unquote talking about crispy grass. That's what your grass is trying to do, is trying to play defense. Or we can continue to water it and keep it thriving and green and all of those things. There's not a right or wrong answer. It just depends on like how much you're dedicated to go and doing that. So If you are going to take the route and go dormant, like just let your lawn go dormant, that is an option. It's not going to kill your grass. That's okay. But you still need to water your lawn every, you can't just not water it all summer. It will die if you do that. But if you water it enough, couple times, every week or so, or excuse me, every other week, you got to at least get it moist a little bit and keep it going. If you go the other side, right, there's a couple things to consider, right? The hot summer months are going to be more susceptible to things like Andrew just said, fungus, disease, all of those things. The best time to water your lawn is in the early mornings. We're talking like before 8, before 9 a.m., before sunrise type of thing. You can do short waterings in the afternoon, generally a couple minutes just to like quote unquote cool the turf down on those super hot days. Really, when the lawn needs water, it needs water, right? I think I'm under that belief. If you need to water your lawn, you need to water your lawn. There are more smart ways to do that. Generally speaking, in cool season lawn territory, different cultivars need different amounts of water. For example, a Kentucky bluegrass is going to need more water than like a fine fescue. But 1 to 1.5 inches of water per week, generally, including any rainfall, is ideal to get on your turf to keep it on that right side, to keep it on that green side, to keep it looking good, aesthetic, and those types of things. You just kind of have to judge that by your lawn, by how your lawn looks. Excuse me. If it's getting dry, you may need to increase that. You can calibrate your sprinkler system and irrigation. That obviously is highly dependent on what your setup is. But you can get timers, you can get sprinklers that allow you to do those, early morning waterings. So you can kind of just relax and not really think about it. Raccio is a good example of that. They've got the smart water controller. They've got the smart hose timer. There's millions of examples, but they're really popular in the DIY space. And then if you really want to figure out how much water you need to physically go and do, we've got a blog on our website to go and look at, exactly how to calculate that, exactly how to look and see how much, water your current irrigation system is outputting in comparison to what your turf grass actually needs. Right. And that's going and not even looking at turf grass, specific cultivars, what type of grass you have or anything like that. That's just very general and generally speaking, as that can get pretty complicated pretty quick. But Vince, in the summertime, there's watering, but there's also some things that can help out with those. Let's talk about, some of those things.
Yeah, so I'm sure you guys probably heard of stuff called like Hydrotain. Hydrotane's super popular in the DIY market. They basically claim to say like you can reduce your watering up to 50%, but what the heck is that? And we're not going to get into the nitty gritty of it. But I just recently read an article from the USGA, and it talked about wetting agents and some of the marketing stuff like that. So wetting agents are grouped into two different categories. You can either have retainers of moisture or penetrants of moisture, and they're more so just marketing terms, but they are helpful in drought conditions. So penetrants, they get moisture into the ground. Retainers, they create kind of like a barrier and hold the moisture in the root zone. And you can have the same thing in one product, but they can be labeled as something different because there's not many regulations on the labeling. The point of this is that when you're using a wetting agent and you technically want to use it before the drought conditions start using a wetting agent. It's going to help improve during drought times, and with proper cultural practices like proper watering. I know there's some studies about organic matter. That's getting into it a little bit too deep for this episode, but cultural practices like good, proper watering, timing your wetting agent at the right time, you're going to see a benefit of that and have, hopefully a greener lawn longer through drought scenarios. So again, Hydrotain, they make a good product. I'm sure you guys used it too. Lawn Supply, they have a wetting agent. Site One, they have a bunch of different wetting agents, and they're going to be labeled for all different things. So again, just follow what the label reads. If you have questions, let us know. But they are another product that you can put in your arsenal to help you through those droughts.
Have you guys ever tried baby shampoo?
No.
I haven't. I've seen people do it. I don't know if it works or not.
I've never used it either, but
I've
I don't know.
used Dawn dish soap, but that was for bugs.
Oh, that was just a test to see if you had
Yeah.
grubs or whatever.
A little different, right?
I
A little
mean,
different.
kind of. Same thing.
Kind of different, not same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think from... Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I was going to say one more thing about mowing. I'm not sure if we talked about it, but the increasing the height of your cut in the summertime. Unless you're like a real mower like you guys are doing in your front lawns. But maybe even then it's beneficial. But like for me, I normally mow at like 2.5 to 3 inches. And with the drought-like conditions we've had, I've been mowing at 3.25, 3.5. And as much as I don't like to keep it that long, man, it sure keeps the moisture better down, in the soil for longer. And it sure does help. So
Yeah, there's and the list can go on, right? In terms of like how to get through summer correctly. And I think the big part to this too is understanding that every lawn's going to be different. So if you do everything that we just said, that's not going to guarantee you success by any stretch of the imagination. But knowing your lawn, knowing your localized environment, and understanding that, and I think from like the trends too, when we get into droughts and stuff like that we're currently in, it all goes back to Vince is a huge advocate of like the cultural practices, right? And keeping up with all of, like, we all are, but like going in and making sure that those are right, and making sure that we can get those hammered down. The other part of that is understanding what you actually plant in your yard, right? There are more drought, like there are every single year and every single other year, there's more and more drought tolerant grass types that are coming out onto the market that you can introduce or completely replace for your yard, that will help you out entirely. Which we'll get into. That's probably another episode by itself. But if you have any questions on those, by all means, reach out to any of us so we can point you in the right direction, and get you, kind of prepared for like a fall overseed, and kind of just making sure you got the right thing going on in your own yard. So with that, you guys, we'll cap it at that. Nice, short and sweet, easy lawn tips for the summer. Sweating through the heat, getting through the heat, and coming out on the other side. So
they might need another t-shirt if they sweat through that. Yeah. What about a discount, Chris?
They might need another t-shirt. I think you guys need about 3 or 4 t-shirts, because you do sweat through those pretty easily, especially if you guys are mowing and you guys are watering, you're fertilizing and doing all of those fun stuff. So we
lose
have
some weight too, so get a size smaller as well.
Yeah.
Just in case.
But we have a lot of breathable, comfortable t-shirts on our lawnfeed.com. If you use promo code BRAD15, BRAD15, you will receive 15% off of your entire order on the Lawn Feed merch site, where you can get pretty much anything in style: Lawn Dad t-shirt, It's Mow Time, Saturday Mow Club, etc. Looking fly, looking good, nice and cool in your lawn. With that, you guys, this is concluding another episode of the Lawn Feed podcast. I am Ope with Andrew at Dad Bod Lawn, Vince with Rooted Lawn Co. Until next time, bye-bye.
See ya.